On another matter, as our nation observes Police Week, cities across America continue to grapple with the rising tide of violent crime, and our nation's capital is certainly no exception. This year, Washington has already endured the deadliest first 4 months of any year in the last decade. Motor vehicle theft in the district is up 115% just from this time last year. And now the left-wing D.C. Council wants to make the tough job facing the brave men and women of the Metropolitan Police even tougher. With violent crime spiraling out of control, the council proposed a new law that would strip police officers of collective bargaining rights, make more of their personal information available for public harassment, and add new hurdles for the use of force in defending themselves and the public. Remember, Congress already had to step in when the council tried to go even softer on felony sentencing with another bill earlier this year. Even President Biden balked at such a radical measure. The latest law, which is already in effect on an emergency basis, has had a devastating impact on local law enforcement. The local police union reports 1,200 officers have chosen to leave the force since it took effect. 1,200 officers have left the force since this took effect. In a city that's facing its worst bout of violent crime in at least a decade, the police chief estimates he has fewer officers to fight it than at any time since the 1970s. To make matters worse, the department is fighting a losing battle against the city's soft-on-crime prosecutions. Last year, Washington's U.S. Attorney's Office declined to press charges on, listen to this, on 2/3 of the arrests made by the police department. In other words, 2 of every 3 times an MPD officer risks their safety to take a suspect into custody, the suspect walks free. No wonder, as Chief Confavor reports, the average homicide suspect the department encounters already has a rap sheet of 11 previous arrests. Left-wing officials in our nation's capital are taking a cue from Washington Democrats' approach to border security. Catch and release. Catch and release. It's simply unacceptable. But this Police Week, the junior senator from Ohio brought forward a resolution to say enough is enough. After a bipartisan vote in the House, our colleagues on both sides of the aisle voted yesterday to reject the D.C. Council's new law. I'm grateful to Senator Vance for his leadership, and I'm proud to join colleagues in continuing to back the blue. Now, on another matter, this week some of America's closest European allies have continued preparations to equip Ukraine with new weapons ahead of a planned counteroffensive, including long-range cruise missiles and American-made fighter aircraft that would require authorization from the United States. As President Biden meets in Japan with our strongest economic partners, I hope he will build on the West's support for Ukraine by clearing the way for a transfer of F-16s, long-range fires, and cluster munitions that will help Ukraine win. As Ukraine prepares to liberate territory from Russian occupation, its friends must move at the speed of relevance to approve the transfer of critical weapons and munitions to help those efforts succeed. Now, Mr. President, on one final matter, today the Senate will bid farewell to a longtime member of our institutional staff. After 37 years of service, the senior audio operator for the Senate chamber, Paul Casasco, is embarking on a well-deserved retirement. Paul arrived in the Senate in the spring of 1986 just in time to help stand up the audio-visual production that would broadcast floor proceedings to the American public. In the years since, I understand that he's had a hand in just about every facet of the Senate's multimedia recording operations, from committee hearing rooms to affectionately named Crow's Nest in the gallery of this very chamber. Paul has had a front row seat to decades of Senate history. He's captured consequential debates and preserved crucial records. So I know my colleagues will join me in thanking Paul for his devoted service to our institution and in wishing him much happiness in his retirement.